You are now locked in to the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast.
Hi guys! Welcome back to another episode of Sitting Down with the Sisters. We're your hosts. I'm Ashley.
I'm Tammy.
I'm Ayo.
And yeah, welcome back. Thank you to everyone that's showing us love on our socials, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, YouTube,
Everywhere.
Whoever's listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, shout out to you lot.
Shout out to you.
You lot are the real MVPs.
Yep.
Guys.
The people leaving us silly comments, right? Gotta say it's one time.
To be fair, it has been a while, so
It's
let
been
her,
a while.
Let her have
Go
her,
through the
her
PSA.
platform.
Go on.
The people saying silly comments, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Pack it in.
Guys, a bit of background story. She just had some Skittles.
Yeah,
I
she's
think it's-
excited.
yeah,
That's why she's
She had a bit of
excited.
sugar, you know.
It's a party classy. Right, moving on to the episode.
Moving on to, before we move on to the episode, guys, we're on the road to 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah. we
After
are,
these two
indeed.
episodes we're filming today drop, we'll be on episode 99.
Wow.
And then that one episode.
I think episode 100.
We should do something
a
big.
solo episode.
What? I thought you were going to say she should do a solo as she should sing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She can do whatever she wants. She feels in that
I'm
episode.
looking at her. I don't understand.
You don't want to do that.
Are you right?
You know people are asking for you. To
Nobody's asking. You're,
Oh
if you're,
my
Ashley, if
God.
you're asking, I'm right here. Be direct. Speak
It's not
to me.
me.
What is the
Someone
problem?
is asking.
I actually wanted to share one of my favorite songs I've been listening to
Go
recently.
on, share it.
I don't know if I'll
I'm
say.
still staring at
Don't
her.
worry, I'll screenshot and send it to you.
Sorry.
Is everything okay?
What's the matter?
She's happy. I'm
She had a
happy.
good day at
I'm
work.
happy that you're happy.
She's happy for real.
It's been all
It's
right.
like the braids are really treating you well.
Thank you.
Looks nice.
Thank you.
She came looking sexy in that unitard, guys.
Oh my gosh.
Is it called unitard jumpsuit?
You know, if she turns around for you, wow.
Hey!
I'm loving
She
it.
turns around
This is
for
what
you.
you're
All the
doing.
podcasts will fall.
The view is viewing. I'm amazed.
Not all the podcasts will.
They will fall.
Yeah.
No.
Anyways,
What's your favorite
there's this song, yeah. I thought it was a jokey song because of TikTok.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful song. It's called People. And it's like, I've been drinking more alcohol for the past 5 days. Did you check on me? Did you look for me? I was in the room, eyes are red, and I don't smoke banga. Did you check on me? And did you notice me? I can't remember.
It's
the lyrics.
finished now.
Hey. Okay. But yeah, I really like that song. The lady's voice, I think her name is Blanca, something like that.
Yeah.
I think she's
Her
It's a
voice-
nice song.
I want to say she's upcoming, but I feel like she has released more songs.
She
But
probably
obviously,
has,
this
but
is
this
like
is the one that blew.
a hit.
And she's
that has
African,
just
I
gone
think,
far.
so we
She
love
is,
that.
She is.
It's a nice song.
It's
I
a
like
beautiful
it.
song.
It's a good song.
What about you? Do you guys actually have a favourite song at the moment?
Oh, that's a good question.
You know?
I have to look through.
Before we get in.
I've been listening to that as well.
Yeah, it's so pretty, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
it's a really good song.
there's the people
No, it's literally
that
one of
don't
my-
really know you.
Yeah.
I love it. Not me singing on the mic. Guys, if you want me to sing, I can sing on the 100th episode.
Oh my! You know this is the second time this season you've asked if you want.
I know, because I like singing. You guys want to hear Ashley sing?
Yeah,
Yes.
I do. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's been a minute.
Anyway. What's
But
yours, babes?
I'm listening to a lot of songs at the moment. Kind of. I'm listening to Cesar's album at the moment.
Oh, okay. Did you like it?
No, I liked it.
I like
yeah.
it.
Oh, okay.
She's breaking records.
Yeah,
Ooh.
she's
Happy
doing
for
bits,
her.
but I heard somewhere that this is gonna be her last album. But I hope that's not the case because
She's not even 30. Is she 30?
She might be just hitting 30. She might be 28 or something. No,
I don't know why. I don't know why that. Because I'm like, she's still young. Like, what do you mean?
The first time I didn't catch what you said.
Is she
so I was like,
30?
I was thinking, what? And you said, he's 30.
No, because she's young, you know.
No, she is young.
She's young, you know.
But you know when you just, do you know being in the limelight is not an easy job at all. So,
Also, she wants to leave.
yeah. Another person that I think wants to stop is Summer Walker. Like a lot of them are just.
I think she should stop.
You think?
Yeah.
Why do you think? What?
She's been threatening that she's going to stop for free.
And it's not because I don't like her, guys. I just think when she's telling us
Yeah, but she
that,
has.
you know, she has a shrine, I'm not too sure I want
Oh
people
yeah,
to
I
listen
forgot
to
about
that.
that. You know.
You know, that's actually throwing it back to one of the first couple of seasons.
Guys, I don't actually.
Yeah.
Tell us your favorite songs, and I need to go into something quick.
that's calm.
Do you know, I've been listening to all different. I've been re-listening to Whiskey's latest, last album that just released.
The purple
more
cover.
less
Yeah.
ego, more.
More love, less
Yeah.
ego.
Yeah,
I've been listening to that.
That's good, that's
Wheezy.
Wheezy baby.
Wheezy baby, look.
And a lot of, well, I listen to gospel anyway, but
Powerful
just
girl.
obviously Maverick City. Oh,
Yes.
love them.
Oh, can I share my favorite gospel song?
Go on.
Why should I say?
I'm just happy.
Oh my days, go on.
It's called "You Are Good," and
know
it's
the
by
song.
this like African guy. His name, I can't remember. I think his name is Justin
How
or
does it
David.
go?
You are good. You are kind. I have never seen your kind.
Okay, I haven't heard it before.
It's beautiful, but yeah,
There's a lot of like gospel artists are really, they're killing it.
yeah.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
really killing it. I'm not gonna lie, there's so
I
many
agree.
great songs, great gospel.
But did you
I
give us
agree.
one song?
Oh.
I just want
what
one.
from Maverick?
Just
or
any song that you're really
Um,
on replay at the moment.
I'll say Maverick City. I will exalt you
Wow.
with Arja
Walls,
Arja Walls. Yeah,
Walls.
Oh, love
That's
her voice.
great. That's pretty.
Yeah, I love
Sounds
that song.
amazing. Sounds
If you just
amazing.
need like a pause and just a reminder, just to hear God's voice,
Wow.
listen to that song. Maverick City. I will exalt you.
Did you say a song? You said Scissors
I just
album.
said Scissors album.
Do you have a favorite on the album?
I have quite a few. I don't have the one, so
Okay.
there's quite a few selections that I'm going. with at the
Okay,
moment.
cool.
Let us know what you guys are listening to.
Yes, we'd
If you
love to
haven't
know.
like already mentioned it, tell me that you said there's
You was
something that
gonna
you want to
say
mention.
something,
Yeah, so recently literally just yesterday, I think, because funny enough, we're talking about music and Afrobeats came up and shrines and everything, and it just made sense in my head to bring this up. But are you seeing what people are noticing in like Afrobeat music videos?
I haven't seen
And
anything.
These sort of demonic sort of
Yeah.
illustrations that are being put out there.
Funnily enough, there was a video
Oh,
someone made
God.
months ago, like back last year summer, when like Amapiano was like
Raining.
Yeah.
really capturing,
Getting into its prime,
holding
yeah.
the people by its necks.
Yeah.
And she's a Christian, and she was listening to this one particular song, and she just felt like a nudge to just research. Okay, what does the song actually mean? Because
Right.
I'm not South African.
Yeah.
I don't be understanding
What
No,
they're
what they're
saying. Yeah.
Me, I just know the beat. That's
It's
it.
hitting, yeah.
So she searched it, and it was literally a chant.
Oh.
And it was literally evoking a spirit, and it was asking a spirit to come.
The devil
And it's
is
not
a
like
liar.
it was like hidden. No, it was outright
The devil
saying,
is a liar.
Spirit come, spirit come.
What
It was
song is it,
evoking a
please? I
spirit.
need to not listen
I need to
to
go
it.
and find the video
Is
again.
it GQOZ? I hope not, because that's one of my favorites.
Nah, I don't think so.
Goes, must goes.
Oh
I
yeah,
love
no,
it.
can't be that
I
one.
can't remember.
Please.
I didn't go and search it because I thought,
Okay.
listen,
Yeah.
I'm the only
You
spirit
don't
I
want
know
to
is the Holy
unlock
Spirit.
that spirit to just unleash.
But you know
Only
what's so
one.
mad? A lot of like this is nothing.
It's nothing new.
If we're being very
Yeah,
honest
there's
with
always
you.
been demonic influence in
The thing
music.
is, the reason why I was so surprised, and the reason why it just sparked my interest is because we know in the music industry it's very prevalent, but in the Afrobeat scene, I didn't know that it would be such a thing, that it would spread to that genre. I don't know why, because I
get
don't
what
know
you
why I
mean.
thought Afrobeat was
I get what
exempt from
you're
it,
saying. Yeah, no.
especially because I don't know. I just thought
Are there
they'd
any
be
examples
somehow
that people were
exempt.
showing? Like,
Yeah,
whose
so
music?
let me give you an example. So Buju and Rema came up a lot.
Lord.
And
Rema doesn't surprise me.
The reason why Rema doesn't surprise me as well is because I see it. I understand Rema, but Buju did surprise me a little bit, and his music videos, like just some of the art that was going around, and there was one particular scene in one of the music videos where someone was like there was a car, the car was empty. And if you literally paid attention for like 2 seconds, there was like a spirit driving the car, and it vanished.
Jesus.
And this is what I
Lord.
saw yesterday online, and I thought, oh, like if you don't pay attention, you don't notice
You're
these
missing.
things,
Of
and
course
you're
not.
You
missing.
know, there's another one from
But,
that same artist, Buju, and there's a scene where someone's walking into like a room, and they walk past like a wall of like.
It was Buju
just
coming into
pictures.
the room, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know what? For some
Lord.
reason, I thought it was a tattoo parlor. I don't know why.
I didn't pay attention to it. I just thought, someone's walking into like. So I didn't know what sort of room it was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it was like a wall of like. It was just if you watched it and you didn't pay attention, you'd think it was just like walking into here where you just see like pictures on the wall and then that's it.
Yeah.
But they paused it.
And
Sorry,
if you
the
saw all
pictures on the
pictures,
wall.
they were like Illuminati, those like one eye pyramids,
Demonic,
like just blasphemy
pictures.
things that were just there. It was absolutely crazy, and they showed a lot of Rema's illustration as well. And do you know what's so funny? I was at the gym yesterday before I saw these videos. I was at the gym and I was listening to one of Rema's songs from his album, one of his albums, and I remember looking at the cover of that album, and I've noticed it before, but I don't know why. Like, it's just so weird how the mind works, because I've noticed that artwork before. I didn't think to question it or just look a bit further. I've just seen it and thought, he's just weird. What a weirdo. And funny, no, what a weirdo, because why would you do that? It was a burning church, upside down.
Yeah.
I
I've
love
seen
that upside down
one.
crossing.
The upside down.
I've seen that
and
one.
I saw that, I thought, why would you do that? But anyway, like, but it's, you need to pay attention. Like, I don't mean to, I'll be honest, I'm very spiritual, definitely, of course. But when it comes to certain things, I'm very surface level.
Right.
And the older I get, the more I realize it's a bit more than that sometimes, especially how it's becoming more prevalent in the Afrobeat scene, which is closer to home for me.
Yeah.
If
No,
that
I
makes
understand.
sense.
Now, I get it.
And imagine coming from the gym, listening to that song, that particular song, seeing that same cover, and someone literally just brings it out in a video. She's like, why is the church burning upside down?
Yeah, stuff like
why
that.
Are things like that so
Rema's,
acceptable?
It's so interesting that you say that, because Rema's music specifically has never appealed to me. And it wasn't even because of, I was thinking demonic, it was more, he's very vulgar in his music, like when it comes to sexually.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, he also he likes dark.
This is what I was talking about.
Yeah, I've seen that one. He likes a lot of dark imagery, and like he likes this raver rock and roll vibe, and like he gives me like he's trying to be like the Nigerian Travis Scott vibe.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And we all know Travis Scott. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I do get
can't-
bad vibes from Travis Scott. Not bad vibes,
I'm not.
but sort
We
of
don't know
dark
anything.
vibes from
but
Travis Scott.
I don't like dark music in it, and so like I think with music, you always have to be careful, because music is like something that is so widely consumed, that it's very easy to put influences in music. Do you know what I mean? It's so easy. You'll just be chilling and you're playing songs on repeat. There was even one time, I think I was in secondary school or something, and there was a song by Rihanna, and I was like, why does this song not want to come out of my head? And when something like that happens to me, I start to feel a bit funny. Because obviously, naturally, if you listen to a song a lot, you'll sing it a lot. But like, you will notice a difference. I feel like you'll know when there's something a bit about a song. Yeah. And like it doesn't surprise me that it's in Afrobeats. I think especially because of how widely received Afrobeats is now.
Right. Because it's mainstream at the moment.
As soon as something becomes mainstream, of course, the media.
And it's so
the shift
sad.
is very like.
And people forget the devil is the owner of this world. God has surrendered the world to the devil. That's why the world is going to end one day, and Jesus will come back and rule. Do you get?
But Afrobeats,
but like,
though,
but do you know what's
my
crazy? Every single facet of like cultures has, demonic,
absolutely,
like worship and demonic things that they probably indulge in. And obviously some people have the argument, but are you talking about African spirituality or are you talking about demonic?
Right.
Like,
there
because
is
some
that
people will say,
whole
we
different
call everything that's
conversation.
African spirituality demonic. I'm not saying, but if you're not following Jesus Christ, you're following the devil. If you don't know that one before,
now you know.
Now you know it. Okay?
So now I have a question then.
Yeah.
And it's funny you bring that up because, we spoke about Summer Walker, just to bring like music as a whole. We spoke about Summer Walker, another person,
and her shrine.
Janae Aiko, how she
Janae
does like her
Aiko.
sound bowls and, all of that and the crystals and whatever. Do you think then witchcraft has become very much so normalized?
100%.
No.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
Different. Yeah, who wants to go first? Do you know what? Let me hit the 100% and then we'll come to the no.
Sorry. 1,000,000%. And you know why? It will seem like it's not, because obviously when people think of witchcraft, they think of elaborate, they think of spells, they think of, no. If anything that you substitute God for then becomes witchcraft, because it becomes demonic. So say for instance, you're substituting God and saying, you want this, and then you're manifesting and calling to the moon. You might think you're just doing an astrology, or you might just think that now you're interested in the stars. But that in itself, anything that's worship of anything that is not God is of the devil. And so because it's so natural, you can go on TikTok and see people say, do you want me to read your tarot card? And it's normal. Or you can see people
DMing me, I have an important message for you, please. Like
normal stuff. Or it could just be like, it would be just random things, like people saying, do you know how I can keep my man? I'll do this.
Yeah.
Because if I do this, he's gonna love me.
Or they'll do a test. Have you ever seen it?
It's
like
witchcraft.
on the Instagram post where someone will literally be like, I have a testimony. Me and my boyfriend or whatever, we were in a bad place, but then I reached out to this doctor
Yeah.
and for like me randomly, I just randomly, I'm thinking, why do I keep seeing these comments? I just clicked on it, the doctor, witch, DM me if you want me to cast a spell or something, blah, blah, blah.
Can I give you one more example as well?
Yeah,
Have you guys
go
heard
on.
of the Enneagram?
No.
The Enneagram, it's like a personality test.
Yes.
So like you can be a number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever.
Yeah.
So Jackie Hill Perry, she said that God prompted her to study the Enneagram test and like see who created it. And it was 2 guys that got like demonic influence to make it, right? So as you're like identifying who you are subjecting yourself to what like people that have consulted other forces that are not of God to tell you what your personality is like. But it's so popular in like Western culture, and it's very popular. Like it's just a popular thing. Oh, what's your Enneagram? What's your Enneagram number? Oh, I'm a 7. I'm a listener.
But then what's the difference between that and just the personality test? Because that obviously relates more to psychology, where it tells you whether you're introvert, extrovert, and just what kind of person
I think it's more the roots of something. So say for instance, where you've got your intellect for something is from a demonic force, regardless of whether you've now made it pretty, it's still demonic.
The origin of it.
Do you know what I mean? If the origin is demonic, it's demonic.
It's tainted,
Whether it looks like,
the outcome
whether,
it's helping.
do you get, I mean, whether it's Sabrina the Teenage Witch, like people, this is the thing, I'm not saying that I'm not like verbatim or categorically saying that these things were demonic, but like where you have shows like that then become popularized, and then people will say, oh, witch this, casting spell that, you make witchcraft look like a small thing. You almost like make it trivial, and then as you make it trivial, it then becomes normal. So that's why I said 100.
I can just easily practice it.
And it's normal. That's why before people wouldn't come out and tell you that they charge their crystals and they wait for the moon to go. Like, no, I'm being real. Like, but back in the day, people would never tell you like publicly. They wouldn't come on there. I've seen babes on their YouTube channel say, "Oh, I got a tarot cards for Christmas, and I'm going to learn how to do tarot."
Oh, I went on holiday. Someone did a reading for me.
And like I'm seeking these people. I'm seeking my spiritual healers. Like it's normal now.
Yeah.
The reason,
that's why I said 100%.
Okay,
then you what was your reason for no?
I get what you're saying. I do agree, but the reason I said no was because all these things that we're talking about is nothing new.
Yeah,
I think everything has some sort of history and background and just sort of where it's come from, right? And I think this is one of them. Witchcraft has always been a thing. If you read about the witch hunt and all these things, maybe the reason why Salem and all these things from medieval times or even before then, I think the reason why it's obviously more accepted in our society is because a lot of things are just becoming a lot more acceptable than they were before. Whether that be good or bad, of course, that's a whole different conversation, but everyone's allowed to be themselves now. Whatever you believe in, no one can tell you what to believe in, whereas back then when things were conservative and traditional, you had to follow a certain standard. And religious, you had to follow a certain principle, and if you didn't, you were outcasted, and you'd either be killed for it or you'd be imprisoned or just, do you know what I mean, publicly executed or something like that. And times aren't like that anymore, so people are allowed to be themselves. I guess there's no consequences for those sort of things.
That's
and
an interesting point,
and people genuinely see, like, even though we don't agree with it, people genuinely see it as, it's the same way you believe in God. This is what I practice. This is what I preach. I don't know if it's a religion, but it's what it's just what
it's a way of life. It's a belief system.
It's their belief system. It's just what gives them their strengths and what they look up to and all these things. And also, if we go back just a slight bit as well, if we go back to history, like even Black history, when we talk about Christianity, some people might argue that before colonization, colonialism happened, our forefathers back then, there was no such thing as Christianity, and spirituality helps them a lot before the white man introduced God or whoever Christianity is, and that was just what they believed in. Whether that was wrong or right, I'll be honest, I can't necessarily say. Like, I wouldn't sit here and say it was wrong. I'm not gonna lie, because it worked for our forefathers. They've done it for years before colonization. We have a very deep history, and it's so sad that everything's been erased and we never get to study it. We can see it in some aspects of life, like when we look back in certain things, we can see that, I don't know about you lot, but in Nigeria, you can even not necessarily see it, but there's certain places that you can go that you can see things, that the
100%.
museum, the
My dad
history,
tells
you can
me.
hear about, there's certain things called the Orishi, like things like that, and you see statues, and those were the things that our forefathers
did,
and I'm
was a
not
part
going to sit there and say it was wrong or right, but that was what they believed in at the time before, before God was introduced, and all of a sudden now the only thing I find a bit weird in all of this, not necessarily the transition, it's more who introduced it to us, and just how it's then shunned completely.
Do you know what's interesting about that point?
I find it very weird. I've always found that so weird. Don't get it twisted. I identify as Christian, and that because that's all I know. Right. If I really wanted to, I don't know much about it, and I think it is something I do actually want to go back and read about and just do a bit of research on. But I find it very interesting, just the way everything is transitioned, and why. There's nothing so wrong with transitioning, because what I can say is colonization has opened our minds to new things, absolutely, but why is it shunned? Why can't it be accepted as Christianity and Islam and these other religions are? You know, that's my thing.
I want to speak on that point, because that's something I was about to campaign in someone else's comments about recently.
She campaign. She was gonna do
because do you know what my issue with that is? Like, I agree with I hear what you're saying completely, because it's interesting. I just need to refute one thing. The thing is, with colonialism, of course, there was Christian crusades, and there was these white people that brought Christianity in a twisted lens, by the way,
and pushed their
to
narrative.
Africa. Cool. But way before colonialism, Bible times, 2,000 years ago, Christianity was in Africa, and people don't know that. People think that Christianity only came to Africa via the colonialization route and via crusades, and that's what I need people to like know, because then it goes into the whole topic of, is Christianity a white man's religion, and or should we be following it? It's not a white man's religion, because even Jesus himself was not white, and apart from Jesus not being white, the Bible and where it was based was not in England, and it wasn't based in America. It was based in the Middle East. And if you even want biblical, which is also historical evidence of the Bible and Christianity being in Africa, not the Bible, but Africa, being in the Bible, you can read Africa being in the Bible, you can read the Bible. There was an Ethiopian eunuch in the New Testament who was going back to Africa to share the good news. So if you ever wanted to know whether it was because of the white man Christianity entered Africa, then that is false. Obviously, for it to become widespread and the indoctrination of what Christianity ended up looking like, colonialism definitely had in that. But it also brought it in a twisted way. The same way, what our forefathers believed in, they can believe, obviously they believed in whatever they believed in, and of course there was probably positive elements to it, and there was probably also negative elements to it, but it was all belief systems. Do you get what I mean? And for me, I believe in the way, the truth, the life, Jesus Christ in it. I'm not saying that anybody that does any other thing, like, I'm not condemning you, but that's what I believe.
That's what I'm saying, and it is what I believe as well, but
I get what you mean. Why is it shunned? Why is it made to seem so?
Why is it black magic? Why is it spirituality in a dark sense?
And
like,
that's
why
why
is
I
it just
asked as well, because I find it so interesting when I see, again, artists like Summer Walker, Janae Aiko, and all these other artists who are so open and vocal, and just people, day-to-day people who are open about it. But then, like you said, when it comes to our ancestors and our history, it's always even just the way it's depicted in media. Obviously, you guys know I'm a big film lover, and even if you look at, for example, shows like Charmed and Sabrina and the Teenage Witch, and all these other, the Vampire Diaries, Teen Wolf, all of those ones, the way it depicts white people who do witchcraft is very different in comparison to 100%. When black
it's
people
so glamorized.
Witchcraft.
It's so pretty when they do it. When they do it, it's very
I just wanna I wanna be more pretty. I wanna be more likable. I wanna get a boyfriend. I wanna do this. But when it's black people, it's dark. They're hateful. They're angry.
The red blood.
They're calling on a certain spirit.
Danger.
So I just find it very interesting. That's why I asked, is it normalized? And my answer would be yes, because I feel like the way people are practicing it now,
it's different.
It's very different. Obviously, it's always been there. Of course, it's always been there.
Existed.
But like you said, back then, if you were vocal about it, there'd be consequences to it. Whereas now, there are no consequences. It's
with a lot of things
people
as well,
can tell
not
you,
just
and you'll just be
religion
like,
and what you believe in.
It's whatever. My sister even told me there was she was having a conversation with a girl at work, and she just outright told my sister, "Yeah, I'm a witch." And my sister was like, she goes, yeah, like I tell people, like I don't.
It's normal
really,
now.
I don't really care.
Yeah.
And that's why I find normal, because even if years ago, if it was because years ago people were scared of the consequences, at least there was still that discreetness, because they knew what they were doing.
It was dark.
It was dark. It wasn't. It wasn't. And the reason why I say it was dark is because my whole argument is, if you know you're not doing anything wrong, why?
Because you would get punished.
But
for
do you know
it.
what?
Because you would get punished.
It's the same way with, not to obviously change it completely, but it's the same way as homosexuality. Honestly, back then, even now, like they can say that, you know, people you can be openly gay. There's not a problem with it, as long as you're not harming it. You can do what you want now. But back then, they weren't doing anything wrong. They were just gay, but it was you will still be punished for it.
I get what you're saying.
That's what I think it is. It's not as if they've never thought they were doing anything wrong.
Yeah, of course.
They were just not allowed to practice whatever it is that they were doing. Hence the reason why they would hide behind a different identity and claim to be Christians or just not speak at all.
I think the rhetoric is slightly different though, only because when it comes to stuff like witchcraft. Okay, so the point that I was more thinking when you guys were both speaking is that the difference between our times and back in the day was that before there was a hard line between what was good and what was evil. Now, evil can masquerade as good. And good can,
and it's also very subjective.
And good can
there are
be
lots of
masqueraded
options.
as evil. And yeah, exactly, subjectivity. But I believe there is a true good and there's a true evil. And that is what is missing in the world today. What was seen as good before can now be seen as evil, and what was seen as evil before can now be misconstrued as good, right? And the Bible already predicted that, so it's not like I'm Sherlock.
New.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing new, and there's nothing new under the sun. At the end of the day, I just think what you guys mentioned about how it's glamorized in white media is also part of why it's become acceptable. Because if you can glamorize witchcraft and make it look like it's an alluring thing to do, a seductive thing to do, then of course it's going to become very popular. The same way with sex positivity in the way that it champions behavior that is not conducive or healthy to anybody's life. It's because it's glamorized as it's been the mask of it's giving women freedom, empowerment is what is being used to sell it, but then it's also encouraging and furthering horrible things because it's got that mask, the masquerading something that is evil as good. So
I think that was my point. I think that the lines have been blurred
100%, whether
people want to admit it or not. And to go back to your point, funny enough, there's this can I say she's an influencer? I think she is. Like she lives in America. Her name is Brittany Renner.
I've heard of her.
Yeah, and I think how she got famous was, you know, she was dating an athlete, and you know she had a baby with him. They had a very. I watched the video like of breakdown. I don't know. You know when you're on YouTube and like you find yourself in a rabbit hole. Yeah. They had a very public breakup. They went their separate ways, and then she ended up dating multiple men with money, whether it be NBA players, different athletes.
That opened the platform for her.
That opened the door for her to just, because obviously she was with someone who was very from a high profile, and it introduced her to a different caliber of men. Yeah. And PSA, I'm not saying anything she hasn't already said herself. She recently did, just to let you know.
Disclaimer.
I'm not saying anything she hasn't already said. She went on a podcast. And she's been very vocal about her journey. Like, she was one of those people that championed body positivity, sex positivity. Like, she was very open about her sex life, everything like that. She's one of those women, like, you know, take what you can from men, do as you please. And on this podcast, you know, she opened up and she said how, you know, she slept with over 30 men, 11 or 12 or more of those are NBA players or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she's now she's now renounced her belief system of body sex positivity because she believes that, you know, it hasn't bettered her life. Hasn't served her. She admitted that she had very low self-esteem, no self-worth. That's what led her to do all that she did. And looking back, she's even embarrassed and very ashamed of, you know, all the things that transpired throughout the last couple of years. I say all of that to say that my issue now with a lot of these things and where the lines have been blurred is once you have a platform and you're now sharing those things, there's no taking it back.
Right.
So you have spent years, not even just not her, just in general. You have spent years, whether it be you've preached witchcraft, you've told people to get crystals, you've told people to go and do a reading.
A lot of people's lives have changed because of you.
All of these things
whether you
have, and that is why it's very dangerous. Extremely. As consumers and as someone who is pushing something, you have to be very mindful of what you are taking in and what you are sharing. Absolutely. Because you don't know who is on the other side and what lengths they will go to now practice the things that you are selling. And that's where the lines are blurring. Because as you said, what was once good is now bad, and what was bad is now good. And that's why I believe that a lot of it has become normalized. Because if you go on social media, there's someone talking about sex positivity, there's someone talking about, women should just do whatever the hell they want, and back to her. She was one of those people.
Can I clarify something as well? On the topic of sex positivity, I think, just to clarify what we're saying, we're not saying that you shouldn't speak about sex in a positive way, because obviously there is positive ways to speak about sex, but we're talking about the exploitation of females when it comes to the topic of sex and it being masqueraded as sex positivity.
Thank you for that point.
Yes.
It was so wild. Like when I was watching that video,
exploitation of females and men, by the way.
Yeah, I actually felt sorry for her, because she was explaining that after all of that, now that all that's been said and done, she was basically saying she's now left with all of these bodies.
She's empty.
She's feeling empty.
So sad.
She's given men access to her that she shouldn't have given. And
she's brought a lot of people with her along the way.
And encourage that lifestyle.
She's encouraged that lifestyle along the way.
If you go and watch that video, or if you go and look at her on social media, she has a huge following. She has a huge following. Like people for
and
a long
I'm sure
time,
a lot of them will be women
her name,
as well.
like last year on a lot of different podcasts,
because
men were constantly talking about, is this a good example for young women? Blah blah blah. All of this, she was going back and forth with different male podcasters. And it's only this year that I last week when I watched that video, I was like, wow. And that can be said the same across the board.
Absolutely.
For all of these different things that people are practicing.
100%.
I'm very sorry I'm not sorry to say, witchcraft is never something that I will endorse or I will encourage or I will make or try to justify. Ever. It's wrong, point blank, period. That's something that, because I've seen so many testimonies, so many people who have come out on the other side after practicing that, and that always come out and say, you do not know what type of spirits you are invoking. You do not know what kind of doors you are opening. You don't know what kind of things that you are messing with that you have no understanding of, because it looks pretty and because you've seen your favorite celebrity do it,
because you can get money.
Oh wow, they've done this, so that maybe that means that if I do that, I'll be closer to them, or I'll obtain the things that they have, without actual understanding. And it goes back to say the same thing that you said with regarding to Christianity or whatever religion you believe. You cannot piggyback off of the salvation of someone else's. Same way the Bible says, work at your own salvation every single day. Do your research. Why do you believe what you believe? Essentially,
what are you getting out of it?
And why?
What is your motivation?
What is your motivation? Because otherwise, you will just flow where the wind blows.
Because what's happening?
Because 1 year you'll be, and we've seen, and do you know what it is? This is not even just in that world, it's even within Christianity, where you see people believe one doctrine 1 year, another doctrine
you're
next
literally
year,
taking
the next year after that is something different. Sorry, there's so many different doctrines evolving within Christianity, within religion, period.
Absolutely.
Can I speak on that?
Beautifully said, Ash.
Hey, that. Anyway, if you didn't listen, shine your ears. No, that is such a important thing to take away from this podcast. One, I was listening to a podcast, and it was talking about the unraveling, so to say, of Christian Twitter. And let me explain.
That's so to say.
Oh, so to say, because
the unraveling.
I don't know how deep or how personal I want to make this, so I'll tread lightly. But essentially, during the pandemic, there was a resurgence of Christian Twitter in a new way, where there were people that were pushing out certain types of doctrine and certain types of content on the internet, and so many young people were taking this doctrines under their belt and transforming their whole entire Christian life around the doctrines that they were being taught. Now, a lot of Christians during the pandemic went through a deconstruction phase of their faith. I, for one, did. I know a lot of people did. The danger of doing your deconstruction on the internet is because you have no real shepherd. Where you have no real shepherd, you can be left and lost, and you can fall astray. You can fall to the way path. And what happened when a lot of us came out of the pandemic, a lot of people that were fervent Christians under certain social media influencers are now either of no faith, agnostic, atheist, or believe in every single god under the planet in the name of, I now no longer want to be that extreme that I preach one message, but I want to be as inclusive as possible, preaching multiple messages. And the problem, like what Ashley has said, is that if you're going to use your platform to influence people to choose and do and believe certain things, you have to realize that you may have so many people's lives on your hands afterwards if you do not do the correct pastoral care needed to keep those people going. A lot of people chose to believe certain things over the pandemic that when they had to now go back into their real life, weren't even sure what they were believing.
Yeah, it became an identity.
Didn't understand what the hell it
didn't have a clue where they were going. And so they obviously have to go back to their normal life. If they're already dealing with depression, they might have dealt with it in a very different way now, because they are now alone, because everybody's gone back to their normal lives. Clubhouse is no longer reigning.
Zoom is finished.
Zoom is done.
You only go on Zoom for your work meetings.
Twitter threads, done. They are still
party.
Done. People are there broken and empty and confused and lost because of the influence of other people. And so, as Ashley said beautifully, I am so cognizant and so intentional about the influence I have on this podcast, because I never want to preach or portray a lifestyle or convince anybody to live a lifestyle, or even endorse, even if I don't believe in it, or ever endorse anything that could lead people down a dangerous path in the name of, oh, this is what people are doing and this is what is making people happy. When
it's actually okay to be quiet. That's what, since it's new, that's what I've learned.
Oh.
You don't need to always have something to post on Instagram story.
You don't always have to share your thoughts.
You don't have to be MLK. I know MLK Day just went in America. You don't always need to be him. It's okay to be quiet.
This is the problem a lot of people are facing, especially in this social media era. A lot of people are suffering from lack of attention. A lot of people want to be
sorry.
No, a lot of a lot of people are suffering from lack of attention. They feel like if people don't hear them speak, if they're too quiet, if they're not saying anything, they think they'll be forgotten about, or people want to stay relevant, whether it be good. They don't mind the extent of how bad they come across, just as long as their names are in people's mouths. Right. What? Bad publicity is publicity at the end of the day, remember? So why would people be quiet?
Yeah, it's true.
Like people make the joke all the time about like how to stay relevant as an influencer. Oh, just one scandal here, one scandal there. I don't mind my name being, mixed up in one scandal here, because it will keep my, my relevance on the internet.
Do you know how normalized it is to see an issue going on? Like, let's say someone's having like a really bad situation that's been put out on the shade bar, or just put out for everyone to hear about. Do you know how normalized it is for me to think this might just be a publicity stunt? They could just be doing it just for attention.
100%.
Because it's just an act, it's a skit, they've put it together because they need to stay relevant. Do you know how realistic that is? How that's a lot of people's everyday lives just to stay relevant.
It's crazy, because even with the rise of TikTok, anybody can become famous. It's not even because it's fake fame, because it's not like you're famous, you're just known.
Anyone can go viral.
People have seen your face.
Quickly. Again, the extent, I just literally went, as soon as you said TikTok, the extent people are willing to go to talk about their private things.
People are opening.
A lot of people, you can speak on what you want. Privacy is subjective. What you consider private, it may not be what I consider private information. So if you think you should, and people should have access to that information about your life, that's you. But you know damn well people shouldn't know that about you. But it's story time, it's get ready with me, so people are
sorry,
mate. You've already
GR what's it?
GRWM
hashtag.
Yeah, no.
Story time whilst I do my makeup.
I'm just gonna tap into what my sis is saying, because
madness on the internet.
In the efforts to stay,
something that if I look at you, I don't need to know that about you. I never ever looking up and down. Never need to know that
it's
about
not my
you.
business.
This is not my business, and you are forcing me. And you're holding me by my neck.
And Temi said it all essentially.
Yeah.
Just because you want to be relevant.
In efforts to get that viral video, you're willing to open your entire nyash on the internet. No, but because do you know what I've realized this year? Like, privacy is something that I'm really, really focusing on this year.
Yeah.
Because, okay, quick joke. I always deactivate my Twitter towards the end of the year. The end of last year came, and you know, if you've ever deactivated your Twitter before,
he said it's the last time.
You know, you need to log in 30 days within the 30 days to have your account come back. I forgot because I was genuinely enjoying being off Twitter. I then tried to log back in. They said they don't recognize this account. The account no longer exists. I said, oh. And you know what? I've taken that to mean no more Twitter for me, because I had a Twitter before that Twitter, and then this was my second Twitter.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that's a sign.
And I think the second Twitter I deleted because of something that happened on the internet. This second one, I feel like it went away with the wind on purpose. And what I've realized is that
it got lost in the hurricane.
One thing that I've realized being off Twitter, I've realized, wow, I might have an opinion, but now I have nowhere to share it. And that's a great thing. Because
sometimes.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, I still have the podcast, I have my Instagram stories, and if anything is that important that I need to share it, I will share. Right. But when it's just casual thoughts, people are sharing their thoughts on people continuously that people don't. Nobody needs to know your thoughts.
Do you know what, guys? At the end, do you know what I just thought about as well? You know the let people be happy and do what they want bandits. They're about to get nobody's saying don't do what you want.
Do whatever the hell you like.
Who am I to tell you how to live your life?
No.
Listen, as much as I'm saying what I'm saying, do what makes you happy. If sharing your business on the net is what makes your day, or what makes you think that's what makes you relevant, do what you need to do. My point, and I think the point everyone here is just trying to make is, like, just be careful with the material you take in every single day. Like, yes, it goes without saying. It's very obvious, these things that we're saying. But a lot of people it's in their subconscious that they don't realize they do it on a daily basis. Right. It's so normalized. Back to the witchcraft situation. It's so normalized.
Be careful what you're also endorsing, though.
Right. Be careful.
What you're taking in. Yes.
Just to do like a 360, it started with the music. We started with speaking about Rema. And I'm not going to lie, it's breaking my heart. Since I've seen that video, I've thought about it more than I should think about it, because it's affected me, because I really, really enjoy these artists. Like, I thought that was my safe, like, if fair enough, you know, westernized music and American music, they're not safe anymore. I understand that. That's fine. If I choose to consume that, that's on my own. That's for me to deal with. But with Afrobeat, I genuinely thought that was my safe lane.
Yeah, I hear you.
But it's not.
You thought you couldn't dosh.
I thought the devil wasn't coming them ends, but apparently he came still. He's knocking on the door and they open the door.
Yeah.
You know, and I just, he has a whole passport there.
That's why like we were saying, be careful what you post on the internet, whether it be TikTok or whatever it is, because whatever you post, you cannot delete. Even if you delete it from your phone, Elon has it.
Oh.
He has it in his office.
Elon.
He has
Uncle
it there.
Elon.
Mr. Musk. He has it in his office.
Facts. And be careful what you endorse, because one day you are endorsing, the next moment you are the spokesperson. No.
You can either get promoted or demoted.
It starts with you taking it in. Wonderful. And then all of a sudden, wow, guys, look what people are doing and they're getting this result. Endorsement.
And do you know what's so sad?
You're the CEO of that company.
Do you know what's so sad? So we hear, this is me included as well, we hear all of this, you know, where our eyes are being exposed to these things. We're seeing them for what they really are. And are we going to stop listening?
Oh, I am very vigilant about stuff like that, though.
Yeah.
Like, for me, obviously I don't know everything, so I don't know all the songs that have that stuff in it. But if I get any sense, obviously there's sometimes the Holy Spirit will
Wizkid does it.
Oh gosh, Tem. Tem.
Temmie, why are you going there?
Don't make it too personal.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
saying.
know, but you're looking.
I think you're going too far.
No. She's right. She's right. She's right.
And Buju is.
But what I'm more saying is like, whenever the Holy Spirit like tries to nudge me, it's not that every time I listen, I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to be better with that, because when you have the Holy Spirit living within you, He will let you know if something you're listening to is not good for you.
You'll feel it.
You'll feel it. There's a feeling that you get, and I just think it's important. If the music that you're listening to glorifies anything that you do not stand by, you need to be careful.
Yeah, it's about the discipline.
It's discipline.
Yeah. It's about the
It's
discipline.
not easy.
You've asked God to give you a good discernment to judge things,
Or a
and
sign to show
and
you
God has
something.
given you that or sign, and you now have it, and then it's now time for you to act, and you're stagnant. Let's not be
That's
stagnant.
a wonderful way to end it.
Wow.
What a word. Temmie. Wow.
That was good, boy.
But
Let us know your thoughts down below. Like, just I know we talked about so many different aspects to it, even in regards to like witchcraft, the music. What are your thoughts? Some people could be watching this, think it's not that deep.
Of course
And
they will.
To you, that's fine.
And it's very deep because people's souls are in danger.
Right. We live in a spiritual world.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry to tell you.
No, everything is spiritual. That's why I'm sorry. I know we're supposed to be rounding up. Sorry, I just need to speak on something. Because a lot of people, you're living in bondage to things. You don't realize why you keep making the same mistake. You think it's just, I'm a human. It's spiritual.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're living in a loop.
So I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Like a hamster.
Same things.
Sorry. It happens to everybody. It happens to everybody. But are you vigilant? Are you cognizant? Are you fighting? This battle that we're fighting is one of, it's not flesh and blood. It's one that is taking place in the spiritual realm. And you can either rest in Christ because He's already conquered evil, or you can fight out there when they're tearing your singlet with their teeth. They'll
finish you.
No, make a decision this day who you're gonna serve.
It's like we asked.
I don't even mean to call. I'm not even trying to do altar call, but I am.
This question keeps coming up. Are you praying? Are you praying?
And when you're praying, what are you praying for?
And who are you praying to?
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. Because I'm very passionate about this topic. It might seem like a joke, innit? At some point, it's not a joke for me anymore.
It's not funny.
Because
when there's someone meeting you at night time when you're sleeping, and actually, it's not funny.
No, reals.
It's not funny.
It's not funny.
Some of you're seeing things in your dreams. You think it's normal. It's not normal. It's gone past the level of normal.
But there is hope. I want everybody to know that there is hope, because Jesus Christ has defeated the evil already. All right? So that's my parting message. If you need any, He lives, and He lives so that you can face tomorrow. If you need to talk to somebody, there are many people that you can speak to. There are local churches. I'm happy to speak to you because there's a dying world out there. But this is serious. I know, as much as we're laughing and it's sounding hilarious, it's serious.
No, it is.
No, it is.
So that's it. That's all I have to say.
Wow,
Be safe, guys.
I
love this episode so
much.
Be safe and believe.
Yeah.
Take
We'll see
care.
you on the next
Go with
episode,
God.
guys.
Yeah. Thank you for sitting down with the sisters.
Bye.